I thought I was coming home for Christmas. I was actually the help. My mom begged me to come home for the holidays. I'm Claire Miller. I'm 30. And like an idiot, I actually thought this Christmas might be different. She called me in London at 3 o'clock in the morning, sobbing on FaceTime about how we never see you anymore and how the whole family needs you here. 10 hours on a cramped overnight flight. 2 layovers. A dead phone battery. And I still showed up on her doorstep in San Diego with a suitcase full of gifts for my brother's kids. I was exhausted. Smelled like airplane coffee. And my back was killing me. I rang the bell, heart pounding, a little stupidly hoping she'd hug me like she used to when I was a kid. The door flew open. No, hello. No, how was your flight? No hug. Just my mom staring at my suitcase and saying, like it was the most normal thing in the world, "You'll babysit your brother's kids. We're going on a family trip." My brother stepped into the doorway. Sunglasses on. Duffel bag over his shoulder. The kids hanging off his arms. He smirked and said, "Hey guys, don't wipe your snot on Aunt Claire, she's jet-lagged." They all laughed. Like I was the punchline to a joke. My parents. My brother. The kids. Everybody cracking up while I stood there with airplane hair and a credit card bill full of tickets I'd paid for. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just felt something in me click off, like a switch. I smiled. Set my suitcase down in the entryway. Looked my mom right in the eye. And said one sentence. And that was the moment everything flipped. The laughing stopped. The color drained from their faces. And my mom kept whispering, "No. No. No way." By the time I was done, their dream vacation wasn't happening. Their house was on the line. And I was finally done being their free babysitter and personal bank. Stay with me until the end, and I'll tell you exactly how one ungrateful daughter ruined her family's perfect holiday, and took her life back in the process. The funny thing is, the moment I said that one sentence, the whole room froze. But to really understand why, you have to know what those people at the door had been doing to me for years. My mom didn't just miss me when she called me in London 2 weeks before. That 3 a.m. FaceTime. She had already texted me screenshots of crazy expensive holiday prices, hinting that she and my dad could never afford a trip like that unless I helped a little, just this once. Just this once was how every single favor started. When my dad needed knee surgery, I wired money. When my brother Jason maxed out his credit cards on his big e-commerce idea, I helped him consolidate his debt. When the water heater broke and the mortgage was overdue, I sent money, and my mom posted photos the next week from a new brunch place downtown. I live in a tiny flat in London. I cook most of my meals at home. I walk to work in the rain. And somehow, I was still paying for Uber Eats and streaming services in a house I didn't live in, on a continent I didn't even live on anymore. So while my mom was crying on FaceTime about how the kids miss you so much, Mia keeps asking when Aunt Claire is coming, I was sitting on my bed in London, staring at my banking app, realizing that the only time my family treated me like part of the group was when a bill was due. I almost said no. I almost told her to figure it out herself. But then a different thought hit me. If they were willing to drag me halfway across the world to use me as a free babysitter and walking credit card, I was finally willing to show them what it looks like when I stopped playing along. I rolled my suitcase inside, let the kids jump around my legs, and followed them into the kitchen where their printed itinerary was laid out on the counter like a glossy promise. Resort photos, flight times, family package in bold letters. My mom tapped the brochure and said, "See, this is why we needed you here, honey, the kids will stay with you, we'll finally have a real vacation, you always say we should take care of ourselves." I looked at the resort name, recognized the card number on the confirmation email open on her phone, and felt that same switch in my chest flip again. So I smiled, asked my mom to get everyone into the dining room, so we can go over a few things before you leave, opened my laptop on the table, and pulled up the stack of digital receipts that would turn their family trip into the last time any of them saw me as a free resource. My dad sat at the head of the table like it was some kind of board meeting. My mom hovered by the counter clutching that printed itinerary. Jason was scrolling his phone, half listening, Mia and Logan spinning in circles on the tile. I slid my laptop closer, turned the screen so they could all see, and said as calmly as I could, "Before you go anywhere, we need to talk about money." Jason groaned, "Claire, seriously, right now?" My dad muttered something about timing under his breath. My mom gave me that wounded look and said, "Honey, we've been under so much stress, can we please not start a fight before we even leave?" I didn't raise my voice. I just clicked to the first folder on my screen labeled Miller Household and opened a spreadsheet. Every line was dated, color-coded, and brutally clear. "Last March," I began, "you called me because the mortgage was 2 months behind. I wired $1,200. In June, Jason's business expenses maxed his card. I sent $2,500. When the water heater broke, $900. When Dad's truck needed new tires, $600. When the electric bill was past due, $300. Here $400, there $500, every month for 3 years, there's something." I scrolled slowly so they could see the amount stacking up, highlighting entries as I spoke. This is not counting the Disney Plus, Hulu, Netflix, Spotify family plan, your Walmart Plus, the cell phone plan, the random emergency Venmo requests that somehow always line up with Black Friday or Labor Day sales. Jason straightened in his chair, color draining from his face as he recognized his own "I swear I'll pay you back next month" memos in the notes column. My mom's hand flew to her mouth when she saw her text screenshot next to deposits for gas money to visit grandma, followed by photos of her at a new nail salon. My dad's jaw tightened when he saw the PayPal transfer labeled knee surgery copay and then the receipt for a brand new flat screen that showed up the same week. "This isn't fair," my mom whispered, "you're making us look like bad people." I shook my head. "I'm not making you look like anything, I'm just showing you what actually happened." Then I scrolled to the bottom, to the row in bold. The total number sat there, big and undeniable. "In the last 36 months, I said quietly, I have sent this house just over $60,000. The room went dead silent. Jason blinked hard. My dad stared at the wall. My mom kept whispering, "No, that can't be right, that can't be right," like if she said it enough the math would change. I reached into my bag and pulled out a thin stack of printed pages, slid them onto the table next to the itinerary for their dream resort. "This," I said, "is a simple agreement. It's not a lawsuit, it's not me taking you to court, it's just a record that all of you acknowledge you owe me this money and will start paying it back, even if it's slowly, $50 a month, 100, whatever." My dad finally snapped out of his shock. "We are family," he barked. "You don't put family in debt like that. What are you going to sue your own parents?" I met his eyes. Family doesn't hide a mortgage in their daughter's name and call her when the payment's late. Family doesn't spend her money on vacations and brunch and then tell everyone she abandoned them. My mom flinched like I'd slapped her. Jason grabbed the pages, skimmed the first paragraph, and his voice cracked. "This is insane. I can't pay this back, none of us can." I leaned back in my chair. "I know, and I'm not expecting you to, not all at once, but I am done living in a world where you pretend you're victims and I'm some selfish career girl overseas." Then I clicked to another tab, the one with their resort reservation confirmation. The familiar logo filled the screen along with their names, dates, and a little note at the bottom with the last 4 digits of the card on file. My card. "And about that family trip you're so excited about," I added, my voice still calm, "you might want to sit down for this part." My dad frowned. "What are you talking about?" I pointed to the status line under the reservation number. "Cancelled 3 days ago." I called the resort and the airline. I said, "Since the bookings were made with my card and my account, I had every right, the package has been refunded, the flight credits have been moved. So when I told you at the door that I wasn't babysitting while you went on vacation, I closed the laptop halfway, just enough to see all their faces at once. What I meant was there is no vacation anymore, not without me, not without my money, not ever again on my dime." My dad lurched up from his chair when he saw the word cancelled, like he could intimidate the screen into changing. "You had no right," he snapped. "Those are our tickets." I didn't even flinch. They were bought with my card, from my account, with my money, I said. The right was all mine. He opened his mouth to argue, but I was already clicking to the next window. And that brings me to the house we're sitting in right now. On the screen was an email from the bank with both our names on it, Gary Miller and Claire Miller, co-borrowers. My dad stared at it, his face draining of color. My mom whispered, "Claire, please, not this, we told you it was just paperwork." I swallowed the familiar ache in my throat. "You told me it was a formality," I said. "You told me it wouldn't affect me, but I've been the one covering short payments on this mortgage for years. Every time you forgot a bill it hit my credit too." I clicked a button and a small video popped up in the corner of the screen. My financial advisor's face appeared, framed by a home office in London. We had spoken before I ever got on the plane. "Hi Claire," she said, "is now still a good time?" I turned the laptop slightly so my parents could see. "Perfect," I said. "You remember my family situation?" My dad hissed, "Who is this?" I answered without looking at him. "This is the person who helped me understand exactly what being a co-borrower on your mortgage means and what my options are now that I'm done bailing you out." The advisor introduced herself politely, then got straight to the point. In calm, measured language, she explained that as a co-borrower my credit was tied to this house, that missed payments and constant shortfalls were hurting me, and that I had the right to go to the bank and request to be removed from the loan. In practice, she continued, that means the lender would require the remaining borrower or borrowers to qualify on their own. They might have to refinance, or in some cases, if they cannot meet the requirements, the property may need to be sold to satisfy the debt. My mom shook her head. "You can't do that," she said, her voice trembling. "We can't afford to move, we can't afford a higher payment." The advisor's voice stayed gentle. "That is between you and the lender, ma'am. What I can say is Claire is not obligated to keep her name on a loan that she is not truly benefiting from, especially when she is the one making up the difference." I thanked her and ended the call, my heart pounding so hard I could feel it in my teeth. I reached into my bag again and pulled out a folded letter. "This is my formal notice that I'll be stopping all automatic payments related to this property," I said. "The bank will contact you directly. From now on I'm also closing the joint checking account Mom convinced me to open just in case there's an emergency." I air quoted the words without meaning to. My mom made a choked sound. "But that's where the grocery money comes from," she said. "That's where we pay utilities. How are we supposed to manage all this?" I took a breath, steady and slow. "The same way every other adult in this country does," I replied. "With your own income, with your own budgeting, with your own consequences when you overspend." I opened another tab showing the monthly auto drafts I had set up over the years. Mortgage supplement, power, internet, streaming bundles, grocery deliveries, car payment top-ups, all of them had my name next to the word payer. "As of today," I said, my cursor hovering over the cancel button for each one, "these stop. You will get your own bills in your own names. If they're late, that's between you and the companies, not me and my credit score." Jason finally spoke up, panic rising in his voice. "Claire, you can't just pull everything away at once. At least give us time. I'm looking into more hours. I'll sign up for more delivery shifts. I swear, just don't screw us like this." I turned to him. "You're 34 years old," I said. "You have 2 kids. You should have been doing that years ago without me dangling in the background as a safety net." He stared at the table, jaw clenched. For a second I almost softened, almost slipped back into the role they had written for me, the fixer, the quiet helper, the girl who would cry in the shower and then open her banking app and make it all go away. But then I remembered the way they had laughed at the door, the way my mom had said you'll babysit, like it was a line item on their to-do list, and that softer part of me shut right back down. I hit cancel on the autopays one by one. Confirmation emails pinged my phone. My mom's breathing got faster. My dad sank back into his chair staring at nothing. "This is cruel," he muttered. "You're punishing us." I shook my head. "No, I'm finally stepping out of a role you all wrote without asking me, and I'm giving you the chance to be honest about what you can actually afford without hiding behind my bank account." I closed the laptop and stood up, my legs shaky but steady enough. "After this," I said, "if you decide to tell anyone that I abandoned you, just remember I have every receipt, every bill, Every transfer, I'm done being the villain in the story you tell other people to make yourselves feel better. I picked up my suitcase and added quietly, you wanted a real vacation, maybe this is it, a vacation from pretending I'm your built-in solution to every bad decision. Let's see how you handle life without that. My dad finally snapped when he saw me rolling my suitcase toward the hallway. He jumped up so fast his chair scraped the tile. If you're walking out after this little show, don't bother coming back, he barked. You're not welcome in this house if you're going to hold money over our heads. My mom reached for my arm. Gary, stop, she just needs to calm down, we can talk about this, she said, but she didn't actually move to stand between us. Jason stared at the floor, silent. I paused in the doorway, hand on the handle, every muscle in my body shaking. A part of me wanted to drop everything, apologize, say I'd figure something out like I always did. Instead I straightened up and said, you're the one who decided my value here was measured in what I pay for. If I'm not welcome without my credit card, then I was never really welcome at all. My dad jabbed a finger toward the door. Get out, he said, and don't come crying to us when London chews you up and spits you out. I almost laughed at that. London wasn't the city that had been eating me alive, this kitchen was. I stepped outside, the California sun hitting my face, and pulled the door shut behind me. No one followed. No one called my name. The only sound was Mia and Logan arguing about a cartoon from the living room, blissfully unaware that their vacation had just evaporated. 6 weeks later, my doorbell rang. I opened it to find my mom standing in the hallway of my downtown condo, holding a small envelope. I sold some jewelry, she said quietly, and some furniture we didn't need. It's not much, but it's a start. She handed me a check for $300. Then she did something she hadn't done in years. She hugged me, a real hug, the kind that doesn't let go right away. And for the first time, I felt like maybe, just maybe, I wasn't just the help anymore. If this story hit home and you've ever felt like the family ATM, don't just walk away, tap that subscribe button, because this community gets it, we've all been there, and we're done being silent about it, let's build something better together.